Right, good evening and many thanks for joining us this the 10th day of June, the year 2025. Indeed, it's a day that a lot has happened, and of course, this and many more in regard to the conversation that is currently ripe in the country. And of course, we'll be bringing you up to date with what is happening. But first thing first, our top stories tonight.
Tonight, hit, tortured, and strangled to death. Autopsy rules out self-inflicted injuries as the cause of Albert Ojwang death. Ruto to opposition. My duty is to unite everyone, even the cousins. Also tonight, Tower of Babel. Chaos erupt in Machakos County Assembly as MCAs yet again flex their muscles over leadership changes. Plus, the unemployment crisis. Youth in Busia County calls for establishment of industries to curb unemployment.
This is KUTV Primetime News with Auma Evans.
Right, our sign language interpreter tonight is Eugene Wafula. Remember, you can follow us on all of our broadcasts on our social media platform at KUTV Kenya. That is on YouTube and, of course, on Twitter at KUTV_Twitter or formerly X at KUTV_Kenya at Auma Evans. The hashtag to use, State of the Nation. So, tonight we begin with the matters politics. As the political heat in Mount Kenya region intensify, artists from the area have found themselves divided into two political camps, with the pro-government artists facing strong opposition from the influential political figures in the region who have called for locals to boycott their music. Our political affairs reporter Blue Smile Hassan unpack the politics of musical chairs in Mount Kenya politics. Take a look.
Wasanii wetu na waibaji tumehuzunishwa sana ya kwamba wamekuwa wasaliti ya jamii.
They were termed as traitors when they met with Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, with former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua ordering for their cancellation and demanded their unconditional apology to the community for their alleged betrayal. Orders that have seemingly been bluntly ignored by the section of Mount Kenya artists who were recently hosted by the president at State House. The increasing tense Mount Kenya politics have split the artists from the region into two factions, with those who support the government seeming to wither the harsh storm on social media.
Lazima hii safari tusafiri pamoja. Iko mambo mengi ya waimbaji, wanamuziki na hii creative industry. Nimesikia vile umesema. We've not given it the weight it deserves. Kuna reforms tunahitajika tufanye. Nimesikia mambo ya collection of royalties, kuwe na digitized way, na hii mambo yenu ya pesa yenu hii ya watu ya simu.
Nevertheless, the Mount Kenya political war being fought at musicians' front has left casualties. Artists who appear to be wavering in their political stance are currently going through a difficult time. At the top of this list is the renowned Mugithi superstar Samido, who initially seemed to be carried by the one-term movement, but later changed his position when he met with Kindiki. Following the saga, Samido was transferred from Nairobi to Gilgil, where he is not reported for duty until now. Stockpole Gilgil, the police station where Samido was transferred to, says that Samido was supposed to report for duty on 27th May and has issued a statement over his alleged dissertation of duty and have called for his arrests. Samido, on his part, claims that he was granted travel clearance by the National Police Service to travel abroad. Blue Smile Hassan, KUTV.
Right, Hassan, for that comprehensive reporting. Now, to matters developing in the country that has really sparked a lot of outrage and debate among Kenyans. Now, the precarious nature of the death of slain teacher Albert Ojwang in a police custody continue to raise eyebrows. Kenyans across the divide, name them activists, politicians, all with one message: heads must roll for a speedy investigation and those found culpable be brought to book. But if you bought the story that Albert Ojwang died as a result of self-inflicted injuries, you may want to think again. This is after the autopsy conducted on the body of the deceased constructing or rather deconstructing the narrative that Ojwang died after hitting his head on the wall of a cell, raising critical questions here. Who killed Albert Ojwang? Who ordered his arrest? Did the complainant, in this case the Deputy Inspector General of Police Eliud Lagat, filed formal complaint? Let's try to answer these questions. And now joining us via Zoom is Professor Fred Ogola, economy and governance expert. Prof, asante sana for making time.
Thank you very much, my brother Evans.
All right, Prof, according to the latest autopsy conducted on the body of Albert Ojwang, it reveals that maybe the police might have lied in their statement. The big question is, why?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say that this case is evidence that Ojwang was killed by the state prima facie. Even before we did autopsy report, the postmortem begins by viewing the body physically just on the face value to look at where the injuries. And one thing glaring was that the injuries were spread on the head mostly, and then you can also see on the arms and on the shoulders and the elbow. So those ones were marks that someone could not have hit himself on any way. Because if you look at the head, if you hit yourself against the wall like you are complaining the head, you would have frontal bleeding. But here they are bleeding which have gone inside the skull, inside the brain. So he was hit by some very serious object. I don't want to say blunt object, but the autopsy report, I'm an eyewitness to all this, reveals that Ojwang was killed out of assault, and the assault was both hitting the head, the area of the head, and very many parts of the body, and strangling the neck because the neck was found to have struggled, and it is very clear that Ojwang was killed. Now the question is why? The most important thing I can say is that Ojwang has just simply found himself in the crossfire because allegedly we know that there's a battle ongoing between the IG and deputy IG, and he being an influencer, he could have just either influenced either of the side, and somebody could have been very mad at him because that's why they went for him from his home, picked him from his home in front of his parents when he was eating with his parents, father that is, whether his wife was eating outside, and they picked him. A DCI came all the way from Nairobi under clear instruction, picked him from home. They brought him all the way to Nairobi, 400 kilometers, and took him to DCI. From the report we have, cell being checked, and he didn't finish 3 hours in the cell before he declared dead, which means this was an execution that was well planned and properly executed with a lot of anger. So the question we're asking, why is being so angry with a 30-year-old person who do not even want anything that can threaten somebody like an IG, deputy IG? But fundamentally, the problem that Kenya Kwanza is having is that Kenya Kwanza overpromised, they cannot perform, so they are scared of these young people who go on to criticize them on the social media for non-performance. They promise there will be food, but there's a lot of hunger in the country. They promise that there will be a lot of jobs for young people. Those jobs are not there. They promise education to be well. Nothing is happening. Investment funding model is suffering. They promise healthcare will be free for everybody. They'll pay NHI. So it is just a non-failure in the government that is making the army is so very jittery anytime young people do this. And I said this thing last year in December, that the government has to notice that they are ruling very intelligent population that are highly critical about them. And if they can't handle the intelligence of these people, then they have to suppress them with force. And that's what's happening. Extrajudicial forces, extrajudicial killing. And this statement from the policeman is something we know. Normally, when you die or you get abducted, they start talking about self-abduction, self-murder. But then later, the truth comes that that was not true. So this is a script that began before World War II.
All right. And Prof, when you look at the contradictory statement that was issued by the National Police Service on 8th of June, that to some extent was trying to rubbish off claims that Albert Ojwang was actually, or rather, was found dead in a police custody. And of course, another statement that was issued on 9th of June acknowledging this was just another statement to acknowledge now indeed Albert Ojwang died in a police custody. Now the question about this contradictory statement is the timing at which it was released, then another statement to try and clarify issues onto this. And this will beg the question of the blunted nature of just releasing information at a very a stage like this, when you find out that a murder has been, in this case, at least according to the report that has the autopsy report, that a murder was committed in a police custody. And of course, should police have taken at least a little bit of time to investigate before they can now release these statements that contradict each other?
Evans, it is so difficult to hide the truth, and it's so difficult to tell a lie. And also, the truth comes out easily. A lie is so difficult to tell because it will bring a lot of inconsistency. For example, the autopsy form which I have to my access, I took a photocopy of it, shows that he was arrested, put in a cell, then found unconscious some hours before 3:30, was unconscious in police cell central, then was rushed to Bagadi and was pronounced dead on arrival. When he went to Bagadi, Bagadi says they never received the body. So who declared him dead at Bagadi? Which doctor, if he was not received? You know, you cannot receive a dead body in a hospital. So most likely Ojwang never died in Bagadi. Most likely Ojwang was beaten to death. Because those beatings he had, you couldn't take long before you pass away. I saw them with one eyes. The level of beating that Albert was exposed to was so painful that you can't even do it to your enemy. So I believe the policemen, even the ones releasing those reports, don't know what's happening. The person knows what's happening. The person who ordered that Ojwang should be taken from Migori, from Homabay. That's why we're demanding for command responsibility, not just the officers who are interdicted. Who commanded that he speak? Because the father says that the policeman who picked him, the DCI who picked him, asks that their boss has sent them to pick Ojwang. So the question is, who are these their bosses? Fortunately, we have the contacts of all those doctors, the DCI who picked him. We know them by name. As family, we are going to conduct a thorough investigation to ensure the truth comes out. But the truth be said, that the state cannot have a consistent information because a lie is so inconsistent. The truth is very easy to tell.
All right.
Remember the one for the MP, even the postmortem was done very fast. And in fact, the truth came out very quickly. And there was a very easy closure. For Ojwang, they tried to postpone postmortem, talking about natural light, that is now too late. We scheduled for appointment, they delayed. And the postmortem should be an urgent matter because the family wants to know what is urgent. Remember, Ojwang's father traveled all the way from Homabay on Saturday by bus to come and know the status of his son. So this was urgent, and the policemen are trying to delay, but the truth has now come out. The autopsy report gave us what we wanted. We could ask for a better results than this one, and therefore the autopsy report has done its part through the doctors. Now the DCI need to do their part. The family is conducting their independent investigation, LSPA,
All right.
even us, and we shall ensure the truth comes out.
All right, Prof. This case of Albert Ojwang's death is just one case too many. Well, Samuel Njuguna died under unexplained circumstances when he was detained in Githurai, that is in Kimbo Police Station in 2024. In 2023, a businessman, Washington Buka Ojuka, died in detention at Buruburu Police Station shortly after his arrest, and the list is endless. The question is, when does it get to stop, Prof?
As a philosopher, one philosopher famous, one known Socrates, said, the might is right. The might is right simply means that the person with power, if he cannot be trusted with the power, then things will go wrong. We will never have Kenyans having their right until we have the right person in state house. Because now it is the Langat is the accused person. The other day was Masengeli. Before it was William Ruto. Then the other day is, so if the head is the one who has committed that crime, what can happen? For example, look at Langat. He's moving like a policeman. He's the one who is being accused as the complainant in the case. So there is intention for him to have done this commitment. He's the one who commanded according to AIG. Why is he moving, robbing in broad daylight, knowing very well what has happened to Ojwang? No one has been arrested. Just some interdiction of junior officers who have no powers to command, because there is no junior officer who can command you to be picked from a police station in Homa Bay and be brought to Nairobi. Remember, if you go to report a case in a police station, for example, when you come from that area, and the incident took place in Central, they cannot even allow you to report from one polling station to the other. Who had powers to command someone to be picked from Nairobi, from Homa Bay to Nairobi, 400 kilometers? Where were the resources found? Do you have a resource to pick someone in a private car, a junior officer in Central? No, it is a very senior, it's power above up there. So what we know is that there is no day all these killings will end until we have the right head of state who will ensure the country functions. Healthcare is working, education is working, cost of living is working, the economy is working. When the economy does not work, everybody is in danger, because the one sitting in state house will be told must go. That's what I'm telling Kenyans. The Kenyan problem is not political. The Kenyan problem is economic. Because if we don't solve the economic problem, there will be insecurity, politics cannot be stable. You can never have a stable country which is not working economically. You can't tell me that you can manage a country politically while the economy doesn't work. Economy comes first, then politics work. So tell me a very good economically sound country, and I'll tell you a stable country. Go to Denmark, go to Germany, go to UK, go to Japan, go to South Korea, go to Singapore. Those countries are stable. Go to South Sudan, poor and stable. Go to Somalia, poverty and stable. Come to Kenya, poverty and stable. And we have a head of state that cannot be able to execute the Kenyans, and therefore that's a challenge. So until we sort out our economy, any head of state will never manage the country, and therefore he has to suppress Kenyans.
All right, Prof, and you ask a very important question. Who ordered the arrest? And of course, even as we look forward for a very speedy investigation that has been called for from a section of Kenyans. I'm talking about the civil society groups, the activists, of course, the politicians who have been asking for a speedy investigation so that those culpable of committing the murder of Albert Ojwang should be brought to book, and the family, for the family of Albert Ojwang to get closure. Now, this brings another very important aspect. I'm talking about now the body mandated with the responsibility to investigate the conduct of police officers. I'm talking about IPOA. Yesterday, they were in the press briefings that was held by Inspector General of Police, that is Douglas Kanja, and they promised like they will investigate and make sure that the family gets justice. Well, the drawn out nature of proceedings that we have seen in most cases, in the previous cases that involve police brutality, and of course the issues to do with the killings of innocent Kenyans like this one. Well, do you have trust and faith that this one will be different given the magnitude and of course the level of emotion and reaction that it has really elicited among the Kenyans, and of course even to the family of Albert Ojwang?
Yeah, first of all, the presence of the chairperson of IPOA was suspect. The presence of Langat was even more suspect, because how can a suspect be in a press briefing trying to brief people about the person who is the victim? That is Ojwang. But that's put aside. The most important evidence we have already gathered, and evidence is so strong that you cannot malign it just because of IPOA. The evidence which we have gathered, the legal team we are putting in place, the connectedness that GNCs have, the pressure that even the young people put in that city mortuary so that we can do postmortem. I salute all the young people in this country. In fact, they are the auditors of this government. They put pressure and they could not listen to any nonsense that postpone. So we are going to ensure that the young people comes in, ensure all their questions are answered, and we will declare one day a holiday just to ensure that people sit back and reflect on the death of Ojwang. In fact, if the court will try to make decisions on the judgment which does not make sense given the evidence we have, we will not accept.
DIG was actually within the proximity with Ojwang because we need to. This is an accountability show, and we must really put everything into perspective, Prof.
You see, being a professor and having taught so many executives in Strathmore Business School, but all at the same time being connected very much to young people. And GNCs are in every institution, whether you talk to the police, you go to the treasury, they're everywhere. We know what has been analyzed already. Remember, GNCs can actually analyze these things and find. So we have that evidence that the phones were in one area. So we just want him to hand over his phone, and we do that analysis and give results. In fact, we are working very deeply and close with that people. I don't want to reveal too much here because it might compromise us, but nevertheless, this is simply telling you the extent and the amount of data we have. Remember when I was at City Mortuary, there were so many things they were trying to tell us which didn't make sense. Like they told us they cannot do postmortem without natural light. And we did research and found that artificial light is even better than natural light, because natural light is as God has given. Artificial lights, you can control the intensity, and we told them this cannot make sense to us at all. So you can't lie. What is black is black. What is white is white.
All right.
What looks like a killing, what looks like a murder is murder. What looks like murder is murder. What smells like murder is murder, and you can't get away from it. In fact, when someone hits at somebody's head, that's intention to kill. Because if they were hitting at his leg, maybe you could see they were trying to threaten him to reveal some information. Someone strangling your neck and hitting your head, that person has intention to kill you. So we have a lot of evidence.
All right.
And in fact, we have put up very, very huge legal team. I can't reveal the names here. I can't reveal the location where we are, but I can tell you that it will not work for these people at all. In fact, God has revealed to us, and as a Luo, I also believe that the spirits are going to come out, and Ojwang's spirit is going to work with us also, because we pray to him. He's now for us a saint. He's for us, he's one of the warriors in Kenya. We take him as somebody who has dropped the blood of saints that is cleansing this country. And we believe that he's going to support his own thing. In Luo, we believe that if he kill somebody, that person even reveals to the people who are closest to him who killed them. And we know that his father has been given a lot of, they communicate. A father and a son. The only father, he's the only son of this gentleman. He has been able to communicate in a very big way. Ojuang spoke with his body. Just lying in the mortuary, when you could see Ojuang lying in the mortuary, the body has already spoken a lot, and you can't take that away. And in fact, it's impossible because he was picked. Remember, Ojuang was arrested lawfully. They went to the to Homa Bay. They went to Mawego police station, picked the OCS, went with the OCS using border to his father's home. That is official because they used even the local police station. So they were officially in the hands of the state. And the state brought him back dead. So it is undisputable fact that he has been killed by the state. So for that matter, who is the officer in the state who killed him? And we don't want saying the police service. No. We have to identify that officer, and that officer who gave instruction, we call it command responsibility, and the ones who executed, now the culprit who executed the action, and therefore we put them to book. And we want this to be a lesson that before you touch any life in Kenya, you have to think twice. We will make this a lesson. I'm telling you. I spent the whole day yesterday. I spent the whole day today. And tomorrow we are meeting again to spend the whole day. We are going to present their evidence when they bring there. That's why if you look at the body parts, we were taking samples for 3 independent investigators. One, I take theirs. Imlu took theirs. The family also took their samples. The family was there taking videos. We had a pathologist for the family who has 30 years experience in pathology. He was actually a government pathologist at some point. Right. We picked another one from him, a pathologist. LSK was there. The kind of minds that are going to be here, we will give it our all. And I can tell you with all the giftedness, if people believe that the lake has got the brains, this is the time the brains will come to prove that you can't kill our son like that. They have done way too many. We have had enough assassination. We are going to tell them no more will you ever touch a Kenyan and just finish their life and walk away.
All right.
These incidents, that's the same. I will tell you, Ogola was the same. The postmortem was shambolic.
Okay.
Results have not come today, and we are going to end at nothing. Ogola is related to me. This is related to me. And we cannot lose so close friends like that too many times. The truth will come out, Evans, I can assure you.
All right. Thank you so much, Prof. I know you have had a really busy day. And of course, thank you so much for shedding in some lights into this very shocking events happening in the country. And of course, it's something that continue to elicit a lot of mixed reaction from Kenyans because it cuts across from Kenyans, civil activists. We have even the politicians who have now thrown in their weight behind this call for justice, and they're calling for speedy investigation into the matter so that the family of Albert Ojwang can get closure and the justice for their kin. Asante sana, Prof, for making time. Always appreciate your insight into the state of the nation.
Thank you. Thank you very much, my brother. God bless.
All right. Okay, so we are taking a very short break here on the state of the nation. When we come back, plenty more to follow after this.
Access to knowledge. Solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Auma Evans.
Alright, welcome back and thank you for keeping it state of the nation. Now, the autopsy conducted on the body of Albert Ojwang revealed that the slain teacher died from the head injuries, neck compression, and multiple soft tissue trauma. And as our crime and investigative reporter Faith Jerry details in her report, the autopsy rules out self-inflicted injuries in a contradictory statement issued by the National Police Service.
He had been conducted Ojwang, who died under mysterious circumstances in Central Police custody. The autopsy was revealed by lead pathologist Bernard Midia, following the pulling out of the government pathologist Jahansen Odwor in circumstances that still remain unclear. The autopsy reveals that the death of Ojwang was due to head injuries, features of neck compression, soft tissue injuries spread all over the body that are pointing towards assault. The pathologist further ruled out self-inflicted injuries as earlier alleged by police officers. The death of Albert has sparked outrageous reactions among the public, including protests. Distressed Kenyans, activists, families, and Law Society of Kenya have demanded for justice upon his untimely death. Political leaders, including ODM leader Raila Odinga and Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, have raised concerns about Ojwang's demise, aiming that it was unnatural and unfair, which they term is violation of human rights. They now want all the perpetrators of his death to be unmasked. Specimens have been gathered and sent to other investigative agencies to gather more evidence to help in corroborating the initial pathologist's reports. All eyes are now on the National Police Body to see if justice will be served to Ojwang's family following his unexpected death. Faith Njoki, KUTV.
Thank you, Faith Njoki, for that. Now, still matters the mysterious death of Albert Ojwang. Now, in a heated Senate session this afternoon, senators fiercely called for the resignation of Deputy Inspector General of Police Eliud Lagat. This is in relation to the controversial death of ex-blogger Albert Ojwang, who died in a police custody under precarious nature. The senators termed the incidents as unlawful and a threat to Kenya's security, arguing that a police station should be safe for Kenyans and not a place for brutality and uncalled deaths.
And I agree with colleagues that there are people who are intended to sabotaging President William Ruto government, and is led by the Minister of Interior, who should take and resign, Mr. Speaker, and take personal political responsibility on this matter, Mr. Speaker.
Parliament is the one that vetted the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Speaker. And as a result, the Inspector General of Police is answerable, is accountable to this House. Mr. Speaker, tomorrow, the Inspector General of Police should be here, must be here. This gentleman did not die. This gentleman was killed, Mr. Speaker. If you look at the definition of to be killed and to die, this gentleman was killed, murdered by the police, who are supposed to be the custodians and the safeguards of law and order in this country.
Even as we plan to call the IG, honorable colleagues, I want to ask you, is IG capable of investigating this case? I don't think he's capable of investigating this case. Mr. Speaker, I think the DIG need to do this country a favor. He needs to resign. As the first step of showing respect to the family of Albert Ojwang, the DIG needs to resign.
That the blood of Albert Ojwang, the blood of all the Gen Zs that have been killed by this government will haunt this government forever. And this government has a leader by the name William Ruto. He should come out and fire DIG Lagat, Mr. Speaker, if before we proceed on anything else.
Mr. Speaker, my party, where I am the deputy party leader, we signed an MOU with UDA. One of the things we agreed was that we are not going to have abductions and killings like this one. Mr. Speaker, if we do not get proper answers from UDA side, we will consider this as a material breach of the MOU we have with UDA.
We want Mr. Eliud Lagat to be arrested so that he can write a statement from a police station for it to be clearer to him that he has a responsibility. Mr. Speaker, the police officers who went to Migori and brought this boy from home to Nairobi so that Lagat could see him when they are slapping him around should equally be arrested.
Right, now away from that, now let's take a look at some of what we call the political entangle that continue to rock the county of Machakos. Now, chaos erupted at the Machakos County Assembly this morning following a heated disagreement over majority and minority leadership positions. The session was disrupted after members of County Assembly engaged in shouting matches and a physical confrontation, forcing the Speaker to adjourn the sitting. Security officers were called in to restore order as tension ran high in the chamber. The leadership row is believed to stem from political divisions and shifting allegiance or other alliances within the assembly. No disciplinary measures have been announced so far, but calls are growing for a peaceful resolutions to restore stability and allow the House to resume its duties. Now, the honorables behaving in not so honorable way. Now, in a bid to strengthen ties between the church and the state, President William Ruto today met with leaders from the African Pentecostal Church of Africa at State House, Nairobi. During the meeting, President Ruto emphasized the need of working together to ensure elimination of any attempts of division along the tribal lines. Ruto also emphasized that the government remains committed to working with leaders across the political spectrum to confront the challenges facing Kenyans and to implement programs and projects that fast-track the country's social economic transformation.
Vile nyinyi wana AIPCA mumeungana mkawa kitu kimoja, Mungu akawabariki. Leo ni kanisa kubwa. Nia yangu, mpango yangu ni kuunganisha Kenya iwe moja. It is my responsibility as the leader of this.
Right, I'm afraid I have some bad news. Now, 5 tourists from India who had traveled from Masai Mara to Nyahururu have been confirmed dead after the minibus they had traveled lost its brakes while descending on a hill towards Oljoro Orok area. Another accident involving a Super Metro Matatu took place rather along the Thika Superhighway this morning, leaving several passengers injured. The Matatu traveling from Juja town towards Nairobi was using the service lane on the Thika Superhighway when it suddenly veered off the road and tipped on its side. And now matters health. The Ministry of Health today confirmed that a total of 137 cases of the Mpox virus disease across 17 counties in Kenya. In a statement released on 9th June, Principal Secretary Mary Mudhoni said that the new infection has been reported with Busia, Mombasa and Nakuru reporting the highest number of cases. So far, over 400 contacts have been confirmed and 315 have been monitored, with 15 testing positive for the virus. The ministry reports that 4.8 million travelers have been screened at the point of entry and 597 mpox samples have undergone testing. In response, the government has strengthened surveillance and public awareness through over 15 million SMS via Safaricom member of public are urged to report any cases or other suspected cases by calling or rather dialing 7919. Now, following a rise in unemployment among youths in Teso North constituency in Busia County, youths are now calling on government to prioritize establishing industries in the area to help them earn a living. The constituency currently has no factory, facing or rather forcing many youths to turn to border businesses or seek casual work across the border in Uganda, despite being educated.
Youth in the North Busia County are urging the government to take action to tackle the rising unemployment affecting the region. Speaking during a recent youth forum, they called for the establishment of industry to help them earn a decent income and improve their lives.
It's not all about politics, but it's about positive criticism of our leaders. We want to see development coming to our area, and we are going to tell our youth that this is the time that Teso North and Busia County at large.
The lack of job opportunities has pushed many youths to seek for work abroad or turn to the informal sector. Over 1,000 youths from the 7 wards attended the forum, which aimed to raise awareness about economic rights and available opportunities.
Huko awali unakuta wanasiasa wanakuja kututumia, sisi ndio tunavaa reflector, tunawekea mafuta ya 50, lakini tungeweza pia kuomba wanasiasa round hii, ikiwa mnakuja, mkuje na interest, mnaweza kutubadilisha tuweze kufanya kazi. Kiangalia bodaboda tuko wengi sana, kama Teso North tumefika bodaboda 10,000.
Currently, the region does not have a single factory, and as a result, many youths are forced to become border riders or cross the border into Uganda in search of employment. The lack of jobs has caused many to suffer psychologically and socially.
Unaona vijana wengi saizi, kitu yenye mtu anaweza fanya tu ni maybe kuendesha pikipiki, na hiyo pia ni pikipiki ya mtu sio yake. So changamoto kubwa ni kazi.
Patricia Alex, Kutv, Busia County.
And now to a shocking story and lack of disrespect, or rather lack of respect to the house of God. Now, a church in Kirinyaga is counting losses after thieves stole property worth millions. The suspects are said to have entered the premises, tied up the church guard, and carried out the robbery in a church. Church members are now calling on the government to investigate and arrest those responsible.
Members of the Gato Church in Kirinyaga County are counting losses after 5 bottles of sacramental wine and items worth millions of shillings were stolen by thieves last night.
Our watchman alikuwa amefunga, nikastuka sana kusikia ni church imeimbwa, na nikajiuliza maswali mingi sana. Sasa nilikuwa nafikiria hawa watu wenye wamefanya hiki kitendo, yani wamefikiria wakuje waimbe kanisa. Nikasema kwa roho yangu, kama hawa watu hawata change, Mungu anawaona na maisha yao itakuwa na laana.
According to the church pastor David Warui, they were informed about the incident after someone was heard screaming inside the church. When they went in to check, they found the church guard tied up with ropes.
Kwa sababu screen zote tatu tunazokuwa nazo haziko pale kwa strong room, pia the mixture is not there, na pia kwa ofisi wamebeba wine chupa 5. Sasa ni ombi letu wale watu walifanya hicho kitendo wakaweze kujirudi.
Members of the church have strongly condemned the incident and are now urging the security agencies to investigate and take immediate action against the thieves. Meanwhile, in Kisii County, Bomachoge Brabo area, a gang of thieves is reported to have broken into the home of a businessman in Nyabate and stole property worth of thousands of shillings. The businessman also says the thieves forced him to sell 90,000 Kenya shillings before breaking in and escaping with household items.
Mwanabiashara mmoja amefuata kutoka, amemaliza biashara, amekuja kwake nyumbani, ameingia kwa nyumba saa 8 usiku. Watu wanamvamia zaidi ya watu 5.
Speaking fire from the area OSPD Shaba Magomba said that police officers have been dispatched to the area to investigate and arrest all those who are involved. He added that stern action will be taken once the investigations are concluded.
Sisi kama wanachama tumejitolea tuchange pesa, tuweke nyumba ya polisi hata nguru mbili, ili maafisa wetu wapate pale pa kukuwa na ofisi, ili waweze kusikia malalamisi yetu na kilio ambacho tuko nacho.
Traders in the area are now calling on the government to construct a police station to help curb the rising cases of the theft in the region. Stephen Masha, KUTV.
So sad and shocking for those who committed that heinous act in the house of God. Simply put, shame on you. Now we take yet another very short break here on the State of the Nation. When we come back, it's all about matters sports. See you now.
Baada ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu. Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi hawana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili bila woga.
Watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi, wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi, hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza nyumbani.
Hi, my name is Stella Tioi.
Jina langu naitwa Okemwa Mwokoa James.
This is Mandela Gaya.
Ugonjwa ulipokuja ulichukua siku 3 ukaniweka in coma. 20 wamezikwa, 2 ndio wako hai.
I don't even know how it feels to see.
I feel like I cannot express myself well the way somebody who can walk can actually express themselves.
Nilichukua muda mwingi mrefu tena mpana ili kuikubali kwamba mimi siwezi tembea tena.
I've come to actually accept myself.
Ukijaribu kumsimamisha mtu mwambie tafadhali nionyeshe njia.
They find it quite strange talking to you.
You should just make schools integrated,
Inclusive setups.
by providing the right facilities.
Right, now it's time for the latest in the world of sports. And now, Harambee Stars head coach Benny McCarthy has pleaded with Kenyans to be patient and give him time to focus on the team so that he can craft a team that can be competitive in the future tournament. He has asked Kenyans to be kind and to give him time, even as he tries to work a formula that will serve the team in the next games to come. McCarthy was speaking this after Harambee Stars drew a goalless draw with Chad in their friendly matches that was played this particular week, and of course in regard to that there were some reaction among Kenyans in regard to the performance of the team given the time that he had taken in this particular team.
And I'm trying to build a squad for Chan. These are preparation games. It's friendly. It's worthless friendly games that you try and see the players that you have at your disposal. It's not here to, I want to win, of course, but I also am realistic. If you don't know a player, they've not played together, they've been here for a couple of days, and then people expect them to win 5-6-0. It doesn't work like that. They have to get used to each other. They have to feel what is it to make the jump from playing for local in the Kenyan league to international levels, trying to select and pick the best players that we're going to have ready for Chan, and that's what we are. So.
And now, from the pressure from Kenyan fans, now let's switch gears to the World Cup qualifiers. Now, the 2026 FIFA World Cup, set to be co-hosted by United States of America, Canada, and Mexico, is already making headlines for its expanded 48-team format. These increases in participation slots have opened doors for several nations to make their highly anticipated debut on the global stage. Azerbaijan and Jordan from the Asian Football Federation have already secured their first ever World Cup spots, or rather slots. Elsewhere, Norway's shocking 3-0 victory over four-time World Cup winners Italy has put a significant pressure on the Azuris, who are now fighting to avoid missing their third consecutive World Cup. Now, the defeat to Norway remains a harsh reminder of the challenges they face, or rather the challenge they face as the qualifiers continue. The football world will be watching closely to see which other nations will seize this historic opportunity and make their first appearance at the FIFA World Cup in 2026. Right, it's a wrap from us from this part, and of course to you, it's a big thank you for always keeping us a company the last 56 minutes or so. It has been my pleasure to interact with you, bring you up to date with the latest in the world of politics, in the developing current affairs in the country, sports, and of course business. And now I leave you with that. You're now up to date with the latest and well informed and equipped with the knowledge of what is happening in the country. Until next time, do have a lovely night and God bless Kenya. My good name is Auma Evans. Eugene Wafula has been a sign language interpreter tonight. Until next time, it's a bye-bye and do have a lovely night.